or lease in the morning.
Hello and welcome to Paratalk with the East Tennessee Ghost Seekers. Paratalk podcast contains explicit language, scary content, and adult humor. Parental discretion is advised.
It's time for Paratalk, a wide-ranging discussion covering hauntings, paranormal encounters, UFOs, cryptids, and true crime. With your host, Stephen Brown, and your East Tennessee Ghost Seekers, Steve Wiseman, Andrea Brown, Elsie Adams, Jesse Arms, Amy Sharp, Justin Howard, and me, Mike Howard. To join in the discussion, email etgsparatalk@gmail.com. And now, it's time for Paratalk.
All right. Holy shit.
What?
It's Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
My God. Saturday. So, last night, as you can tell, we wasn't here.
What?
No, we wasn't here. And it's all because of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blaming it on you this time.
Yeah, it was totally me. Yeah. I was feeling a little puny last night, so I was like, No. I'd been up since...
considering you're the one that runs that thing.
Yeah.
We'd be like, I don't know. We'd be pushing all the buttons.
Which button is it?
This one looks pretty. Let's push it. Push all of them.
But, yes, I was feeling a little puny. So, I'd been up since like 1:40 in the morning and just wasn't feeling it at all. But I feel better now.
Yay.
Yes. And we have no Mike this week.
No.
Mike is on a cruise.
Lucky.
He is. He is sailing the ocean blue.
Lucky.
He'll probably get over somewhere and fuck up and wind up in some Jamaican jail or some shit.
Mike? No.
Or kidnapped by pirates.
Arr.
He'll be going after their booty.
Hey, he's got experience.
That's right.
I mean, he worked
going
at the
after the
pirate
booty.
show. No.
Oh,
He worked at the pirate show.
he did. He was Blackbeard.
Long as he's not
Wait, hold on. I don't have you turned on. Don't have you turned on. Go ahead.
As long as he's not the pig in the ground.
That's
that's
true.
true.
That's true. Yeah. So, and we don't have Amy.
No.
Amy's feeling a little under the weather tonight. She said she had a scratchy throat and didn't want to bring it with her over here.
Which we
and
appreciate.
Yes.
Of course, we miss her.
Yes. But we threw somebody else in here tonight.
Yeah, we did.
To be the fly on the wall.
Annoyance.
The annoyance. And to maybe...
Steve, you can take a break.
I appreciate that. I think I've been on a long enough break.
You have. You
Yes,
have.
'cause
We
we-
have missed you.
Yes, we have Steve back this week.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes.
It's about damn time.
Yeah, he's been gone since, I don't know.
1892.
Since Hector was a pup.
Oh, God, he's like 92 years old now.
Exactly.
Son of a bitch.
Aw.
Hockey said, I missed
you too, brother.
But, yeah, we brought someone else in tonight. You see him in the chat room. You know he has all kinds of weird comments about everything. But now you're going to get to hear his voice and hear those weird comments live. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Bam Bam Nemesis to the chat.
Thank you.
Damn, that was a weird ass comment.
But
Appreciate that.
yeah, so we have Bam Bam with us this week, And he's going to throw his 2 cents in on the topics, I'm sure, because this one's kind of fucked up.
No, there's no kinda about it. It is fucked
It's
up.
a lot.
Yeah, this is a lot
Yeah.
fucked up. You guys know last week we did serial killer. We did Danny Rolling. Yeah, Danny Rolling, the guy that they based the Scream movies on, loosely. Well, Amy was going to come up with a topic for this week, and so she shot us a message Tuesday, I guess it was Monday or Tuesday, and
And it sucks. She's the one that came up with this, and she's not here.
Yeah, she came up with a topic, and she's not here.
Maybe
but-
she's listening.
Maybe.
I don't see her in there.
I don't
though.
see her in here. No, but she came up with this topic, and let me just say,
Yuck.
I've had a bad taste in my mouth since I started reading and watching all the stuff on these 2 individuals.
Listerine could help with that.
You think?
Maybe.
We can try, yeah. And because I'm telling you, the Bud Light seltzer things, hard cola, it didn't help. No.
This story is almost as disturbing as that video Mike made us watch.
Oh, God. You're right. You're right. Yeah. Ugh. And if you don't know what video we're talking about, go back a few episodes and you can hear us talk about it. Don't remember which episode it was.
Was
Listen
it
to them
the
all.
one that Mike or Jamie?
Jamie.
Oh, Jamie. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jamie. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jamie made us watch it.
That was disturbing.
Yeah. But this is a different kind of disturbing.
We shall not talk about that ever.
Okay. Well, this is a different kind of disturbing.
Yes.
This is still in that serial killer genre. And these 2 guys, I don't know what did.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being skinning your dog and 10 being nuking a town in slow motion just to watch them melt, how fucked up is this?
A 9.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Gen 6, for that question.
Yeah. I'm a 9 or maybe even a strong 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this week, if you haven't heard of these guys, we're talking about Leonard Lake and Charles Ng. These 2 guys, they're fucked up.
Demented bastards.
Demented, yes. So, let me see here. Just to rattle off just the top of this, just to give you an idea. Okay, Leonard Lake and Charles Ng were a pair of serial killers, serial rapists, abductors, robbers, family annihilators, believed to be responsible for as many as 25 murders. 25.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah. Their signature was recording female victims being raped and tortured with a video camera. A video camera they stole after they abducted the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, call me crazy. I mean,
Crazy.
Thank you. By no means would I ever consider this, but it just seems to me that there's that level of maybe stupidity. When somebody videotapes what they're doing.
Yeah. That's not very bright.
It's kind of like, okay,
Well,
maybe I get
well, wait.
okay.
We'll get into that. Real quick, I'm just going to give I've got some info here on
A quick synopsis.
just on each guy individually.
Okay.
So Lake was born in San Francisco, California on October 29th, 1945. When he was young, his parents separated, and he and his siblings were sent to live with their grandparents. At an early age, he began taking nude photos of his sisters. This became the start of his obsession with pornography. He also enjoyed killing mice by dissolving them in chemicals. In 1965, age 18, he enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps and did serve in Vietnam during the war as a radar operator. During his first tour, he was hospitalized what's that?
Speak.
Speak ass.
Hospitalized.
Thank you very much for exhibiting incipient psychotic reactions. But he was returned to duty after a short time. In 1971, he was given a medical discharge for having been diagnosed with schizoid personality disorder. He moved to San Jose, California, and attended the San Jose University, but dropped out after only one semester and joined a hippie commune. About this time, Lake became obsessed with the idea of global nuclear war and developed a kind of survivalist paranoia and with an obsession with guns. He met a woman named Carolyn. It's Clara Lynn.
Okay.
It's a fucked up word.
No,
Her name was Cricket.
Bella's.
Yes, that they called her Cricket. A 25-year-old teacher's aide who he nicknamed Cricket. In 1977, he married her. In 1981, moved in with her. He married her in 77 and moved in with her in 81. Shortly afterwards, he met Charles Ng. Lake would star in S&M and bondage-related amateur porn movies. He also made Cricket take part in them. He had been married to another woman before her in 1975 while he was serving in Vietnam. Like Cricket, she left him when she could no longer put up with his sexual deviances. So
I want to add a little something about Leonard. So you mentioned, his parents got divorced when he was 6, and his grandmother started watching him and his siblings. So even though grandma was there to support them and everything, it actually was not a good thing because he was found forcing his sisters to pose nude for photographs, and his grandmother just looked the other way. And then when he became obsessed with pornography and started extorting his sisters to perform sexual acts, she didn't do anything. Then, of course, when he was found killing the mice and other small animals and dissolving them in acid, again, nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes, by some accounts, his grandmother even encouraged his nude photography. Now, how twisted and jacked up is that? I mean, that in itself, all right, here you go, psycho.
Yeah.
Let me help mold you into the serial killer you're going to become.
So if anybody really should have been, if grandma wasn't already dead, she should have been put on trial.
Right.
Yeah.
And that makes me wonder just a little bit about Grandma herself.
Yes.
Was
she living vicariously through him?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
or was she maybe doing something?
Maybe she too, had some, freaky fetishes.
Right. Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe she's killed some and just never got caught.
Because she didn't videotape them.
Yeah.
Jen says, damn, what the hell was wrong with Grandma?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That right there is one of the saddest things. I mean, there's been, granted, Grandma, I guarantee, Grandma never hurt those babies herself.
No.
Right.
She supported them. She, quote unquote, loved them. She took them in, but yet she allowed
Him to do the things
him to
he
do
did.
that. And that right there is just as bad of abuse on the sisters
Yeah.
as her doing it herself.
Right.
Gen 6 says, maybe there was a reason why her vegetables grew so well.
There you go.
Yeah.
We figured it out.
That's it.
Game over.
All right. So now we'll go to this next asshole, Charles Ng. Ng was born in Hong Kong on December 24th, 1960. His father, a business executive, was strict and disciplined him through physical abuse. From an early age, he displayed an obsession with martial arts and fire setting, and also had a lifelong addiction to stealing. At age 15, he was arrested for shoplifting and sent by his father to a private boarding school in England in an attempt to change him, from which he was expelled for stealing from the fellow students. Wow. He gets sent to a boarding school and gets expelled from there for stealing from the students. And sent back to Hong Kong. In adulthood, he moved to the United States and enrolled in Notre Dame University in Belmont, California. So it's not
Like-
the other Notre
Okay, I was
Dame.
trying to say not the.
No. But he dropped out after his first semester. Sound familiar? Does same thing happen with Leonard? Mm-hmm. That's not all they have in common, though.
It's true.
In October 1979, he was arrested in relation to a hit-and-run accident and forced to pay for damages. In 1980, he lied about his nationality and joined the United States Marine Corps.
And that was the time where they did not do background checks, obviously.
He was dishonorably discharged after less than a year for stealing automatic weapons worth $11,000 from the gun storage of the Marine Corps based in Kanohi Bay, Hawaii.
Wait. Hockey man. Seriously?
What?
He said he'd rather watch that video again than to listen to this.
This is me, hockey man.
Right.
I can go away.
No, it's just how disturbing this is.
I realize that, but that
Okay.
video,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
All right. Though sentenced to 14 years, he escaped and made his way to California, where he met Lake. Through some sources claim that they met when Lake posted an ad in a survivalist magazine. This cannot be confirmed. After meeting Lake, he moved into his ranch. So that's a little background on both of them. And, just from reading that, you see how disturbed both of them mentally are already.
My stomach hurts from listening to this
Yeah.
already.
Yeah. So Ing, when, he was growing up, if he fucked up, Dad beat his ass.
Yeah.
But you know what? That happened to a lot of us.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know what? We didn't grow up and kill babies.
That is true.
And it kind of sounds like one of them got too many whoopings,
And the
and
other
the
one,
other didn't have any.
yeah, not enough at all.
I mean, that right there is just, the contrast between on both sides of it. Mm-hmm. I mean, either too little, you see what happens. Too much, you see what happens.
Right.
It needs to be just the right amount of spankings.
Yeah.
One ass busting a day.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. You fuck up, I'm punching you in the mouth.
That's it.
And you know what? They probably wouldn't have grown up and done that. Ing probably got his ass beat. He'd grown up in Hong Kong. Dad probably, Hong Kong Phooey himself.
I mean, in his younger days, I could see that he would have been like, he could have been the punching bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, when he grew up,
And became the puncher of the bags.
yes.
Yeah. To not to sound, like I was calling the ladies punching bags, but
We know what you meant.
He treated them like a punching bag.
Yes.
And worse than that. So
We know you're not going to hit Andrea. I'm pretty sure she can take you.
she could, yeah, I guarantee it.
One way or another.
Yeah.
You got to sleep sometime, buddy.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
I do generally make your dinner.
And her 45's on her side of the bed.
That is true.
So, but, okay, so his big thing, though, Ing's big thing, growing up was theft.
Yep. He was a kleptomaniac.
Yeah. He was totally a kleptomaniac. He could not stop stealing. Could not. I mean,
I can't imagine, honestly, it kind of seems ridiculous, but I can't imagine have that kind of impulse to just constantly walk into a store and be like, I like this pen.
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
I like, this box over here. I'm going to take it. I don't
Well, the
see
thing,
that.
the thing is, though, is it about I need that or the
No.
rush?
And I
It's the
think
rush.
it's the rush. It's adrenaline on, I'm going to get this and I'm going to be able to get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously he had issues,
Yeah. And
been arrested.
Yeah.
and his issue was, we'll get to that. But I mean, these two guys, super, super crazy, messed up. Here, Andrea, I will let
That.
What is that? I can't. I'm looking at a different paper.
Why are you looking at a different paper? You
'Cause
give
I
us some
have
paper?
one.
This?
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay. So between 1983 and 1985, Leonard Lake and Charles Ng kidnapped, tortured, raped, and murdered between 8 and 25 people, mostly women, in their bunker, perhaps in a bid to prepare for the impending nuclear holocaust when they would be required to repopulate the earth. A lot of good that does when you kill them. The scope of their crimes is still undetermined, as is the total of their victims. Police remain unsure as to the team's true kill count, as they only found the remains of 12 people on the property and suspect there could be at least a dozen more, judging by the 45-pound collection of charred human bone fragments they found on the property. The two men would hold both male and female victims in the 6.5 by 3.5 foot cinder block bunker with only a bucket and toilet paper inside. And the bunker was also lined with a one-way mirror.
So they could look at them.
Oh, yeah.
And probably jerk off and, splat it on the wall.
Watch them
Ew.
be like miserable. Following the murders, Lake would dismember and destroy the corpses of their victims using a trick he learned as a child, dissolving them in various chemicals and acids. Then they'd sprinkle whatever remained of them throughout the grounds of the cabin. Among their positively identified victims were a local man named Robin Stapley, another local named Paul Costner, a couple who lived up the street named Harvey and Deborah Dubbs, and multiple local children. Among Lake's belongings, police found videotapes of the men torturing and raping their victims. In some cases, the partners made to watch their wives sexually assaulted before they were both killed. One victim, Deborah, or Debbie Dubbs, was so violently sexually assaulted on tape that she could not have survived the ordeal. The men hog-tied various women, forced them into oral sex and orgies, or put in leg irons. The 6 captives were aged anywhere between 12 and 20-something. And only 6 of the women featured in these home movies were later found alive. 15 of them remain missing. According to former cellmate of Charles Ng, the serial killer once bragged to him about sexually torturing and disfiguring women with a power drill and pliers. What the? The pliers he used to rip off nipples. Inserted a power drill attachment up vaginas, shoved rods up anuses, and broke knuckles with vice grips.
Damn.
The men seemed to have no particular type besides their affinity for torturing women, as they were also known to have killed children and men. In at least 2 instances, they kidnapped and killed a family of 3, including neighbors Lonnie Bond and Brenda O'Connor, who had a 2-year-old son together. The only common thread between these victims was apparently their vicinity, whether out of laziness, convenience, or some combination of the two. The men never looked far for a target.
Yeah, and if you guys want to get really, really disturbed by
I'm
this,
pretty sure they already did.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you want to get really disturbed, you can go on YouTube, and me and Steve sat and watched them the other night. There's one of the YouTube guys that has his little series on serial killers. He shows clips from these videos. And like the lady that they were just talking about, that Andrew was just talking about with the kid, they actually lived next door. And she's like, "Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to us?" And he's like, "Because I don't like you." She's like, "Why are you doing this?" He goes, "Do you want me to spell it for you? We don't like you."
Right.
And they said that they were going to take her son and give their son away to another family. When in actuality, Ng had already killed the little boy and the husband, while this lady is sitting there shackled at her feet, hands tied behind her back, and them telling her that she's going to be their servant and do as they say, will show nothing but respect. And if she fucks up, then they're going to kill her.
Right.
When in the end, they were going to kill her anyway.
Yeah, I mean, they eventually tell them, we're going to use you until we have no more use for you, and then we're going to kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess, if you play along, then you'll get to live a little longer.
Yeah, but honestly, if I were in that situation, I'd be like,
fucking kill me now.
Yeah, I don't want to live in this anymore.
Yeah.
Just take me out.
But I mean, Leonard actually, another video that's online, he had set his camcorder up and recorded himself telling what he was actually going to do before it ever happened, and saying that he would use them for sex, and then he would, when he got tired of them and bored with them, he would kill them.
His exact words were, "What I want is an off-the-shelf sex partner."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
for those of you who have just joined, we are talking about Leonard Lake and Charles Ng, the serial killers from the 70s, 80s era.
80s.
Okay.
Yeah. But, so, they torture these women and beat them. And this, let me go back. The lady that I was just talking about, like Charles Ng, he goes up to her while she's sitting there and takes out a butterfly knife and cuts her shirt off of her while she's sitting there. Because she had said something about it being hot in there. So instead of, making it a little more comfortable for the lady, he just takes his knife and cuts her shirt off. Sadistic bastards.
Very much so. Sorry.
Yeah.
I can hear blue.
Yeah, we all can.
Yeah.
Trevor coughed.
Gosh, Trevor.
But come on.
Huh?
Carry on.
So,
Did you forget where you were?
oh, no. All right. So, however, the quiet rampage of Leonard Lake and Charles Ng lasted only 2 years. Crazy as it seems. In 1985, thanks to petty theft, the two killers were finally caught. In June of that year, while on a trip into downtown San Francisco, Ng attempted to shoplift a vise from a hardware store. The clerk caught him and held him back, threatening to call the police. Ng panicked and called Lake, who made his way down to the store in an attempt to pay for the vise and smooth the situation over. Unfortunately, by the time Lake arrived, so had the police. Even more unfortunate was that they picked up on Lake's abnormal behavior quickly and instead of releasing Ng, began to question Lake. Things went from bad to worse when Lake handed over a driver's license that bore no resemblance to him, and when it was discovered that the man in the license, Scott Stapley, had been missing for several months. Furthermore, police found a gun equipped with an illegal silencer in the trunk of Lake's car, which was registered to a Paul Cosner, another missing San Francisco resident. The car and the gun were enough to arrest Leonard Lake, not to mention the shoplifting Charles Ng. Following their arrest, the police searched the cabin dungeon and found several stolen vehicles.
That part right there is totally not true, because Ng got away. Ng left.
And went to Canada.
Went to Canada. Because he left and Leonard Lake showed up to pay for everything to keep the noise down.
Yes.
And when he got there to pay for the things, there's no Ng, and cops are there waiting.
Right.
So
because they're like, why are you coming here to pay for this where he's gone?
Yeah.
And then,
See, that right there shows you he wasn't very bright.
No, not at all.
So following the arrest, the police searched the cabin dungeon and found several stolen vehicles, as well as some 40 pounds of crushed human bone. Authorities also found treasure maps in the cabin that led them to buried 5-gallon buckets. One was filled with enough stolen identification papers, credit cards, and personal belongings to lead police to believe Lake had killed at least 25 people. The other bucket was even more disturbing. Inside were dozens of pages from Lake's personal journals and videotapes featuring the rape and torture of 2 women. 12 people were positively identified from the remains found on the property, but experts believe there could be upwards of 25. It seemed that Leonard Lake knew that there was no way he was ever getting out of prison. Before he'd been arrested, he'd sewn cyanide pills into the lining of his clothing. While in custody, he swallowed several of them, dying in prison before charges could be faced. His accomplice, Charles Ng, wasn't so clever, and instead faced trial for 11 counts of murder. In 1999, Charles Ng was sentenced to death by lethal injection and remains on death row in the San Quentin State Prison. I mean, coward.
Yes.
You want to do it, but you don't want to pay for it. All right. Coward.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that Charles Ng, from that documentary we were watching the other night, he became a jailhouse lawyer. He learned all the, everything about trials, but he postponed his trial by, by firing his attorney. Every time they would come up on their trial date, he'd fire their attorney. So it would postpone it for X amount of months. And it finally, I think it was after 4 years, they finally went to trial. Mm-hmm. But it's crazy.
It's so crazy that somebody is so stupid, but yet so smart to know this is what I'm going to do to delay it.
Right.
How can you be so stupid and so smart at the same time?
Yeah.
Really?
He totally was.
And I think
Hockey Man.
Hockey Man asked, do we know what happened to the sisters? I don't think. I'm pretty sure that.
No.
Do you?
I have some info on the sisters.
Well, there you go.
So I do know that one of the sisters would not have anything really to do with him after she became an adult. The other one, they actually went with, because when they've arrested Leonard, or when they arrested Leonard and he committed suicide, because it took him 4 days to die. But when he
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Torture. You're dying for 4 days.
Yeah.
Right.
But when the cops found out who he was, they reached out to his family and talked to his sister and his mother. And they wanted to go to this bunker where he was. And the girl and his sister said, well, I can't go tonight. We've got something going on, but we can meet you tomorrow morning and we'll go then. Cops are fine. Cool, whatever. We'll meet you at this time at, I think it was like 10 a.m. the next morning on this road. Well, the sister and the mom show up, and sister proceeds to tell the cops that, and the cops told them, absolutely under no reason at all should you be there before you go with us. You cannot be there. So they meet the cops. They were like, we decided we came up last night because mom was worried about, because Leonard was kind of a slob, and we wanted to pick up the area before you guys got there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What the? No.
Well, that cricket went with either the mother or the sister to the cabin and removed a bunch of stuff that would incriminate her.
Yeah.
So, Cricket.
Yeah, because Cricket helped in the beginning.
She was recruiting.
She was recruiting, where she worked as a teacher's aide. She actually went to Leonard and said, there's some good-looking 14 and 16-year-olds at the school.
Okay, so did anything happen to Cricket?
She got immunity.
She got immunity
for her testimony.
Are you freaking kidding me?
No. She got straight up immunity for her testimony.
I would have been like, okay.
And her testimony. Listen to me.
Okay.
her testimony, she didn't say a word. Did not say a word. And because she did not speak, then the prosecution could not cross-examine her. Go ahead, Trevor. Go ahead.
Our weak liberal justice system at work for you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of those things that, okay, we're giving you immunity based on your testimony.
Yeah.
You don't speak, you don't get immunity. You know?
Well, no.
But once those
That was
papers
for
are
the
filed,
defense. That was for the defense. The defense had her as a witness.
no, the prosecution gave her immunity.
Was it the prosecution?
Yeah,
gave-
and then she wouldn't speak and became a witness for the defense after that.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. So then the prosecution could not cross-examine her.
Because she wouldn't say a word.
Yeah.
I would almost, and I'm, going into my petty self right here. If I knew about this story, granted it was a long time ago, but if I were in that area and if I knew this cricket and I knew that she had a part in all this, I would make her life a living hell.
Right.
I would do everything in my power to make her suffer just as much as those girls did, just as much as those men and children did. I would do everything in my power. And I mean, granted, back then, social media wasn't a thing. Mm-hmm. Internet wasn't a thing. But by George, I would be posting in every single paper. I would be sending things to every newspaper, in a 1,000-mile radius.
Right.
About how this woman was able to get out of her punishment for being a part of this.
Right. And see what this paper doesn't say or notes is, some of their victims, they would tie to a stake and carry them out to the fire pit and set them over top of the fire alive and let them burn.
Yeah. So,
I am livid right now.
hold on a second.
I am so mad right now.
I want to piss you off some more.
Oh, thanks.
Because I'm going to let you guys hear Leonard Lake himself talk. Hold on a second. This won't be crazy. Hold on. You guys talk a second. Let me get this going.
So how's your day?
It's pretty good. I just woke up from a nap.
Nice.
I had a nap earlier.
Did you?
Yeah.
I rearranged the bedroom.
Good.
I'm in there moving dressers, and Steven's like, "Why didn't you call me in here to help?" I'm like, just figured I'd do it, get it done. My back hurts, but
Just to kind of add something to get back on subject, I'm in favor of a different form of execution for criminals like this. The judge just hands them over to the victim's family.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like the whole child molesters, put them in general population type thing.
Yep.
I mean,
Okay.
things will get taken care of one way or another.
Public executions.
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
Remind me about
Good
something
evening.
later.
It's a Sunday in October, 22nd, 23rd, something like that. Very close to my 38th birthday. And I'm starting this tape without script or without any real organization of what I want to say. But I do feel a need to explain. What I want is an off-the-shelf sex partner. I want to be able to use a woman whenever and however I want. And when I'm tired or bored or not interested, I simply want to put her away, lock her up in a little room, get her out of my sight, out of my life. A slave, there's no way around it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we also have this lovely list of rules.
Oh, yeah. So, about the rules. So, you heard Leonard saying that he wanted to put them away, put them in a little room where he is. That was his, the little room that had
The dungeon.
Yeah, that had the two-way mirror where he could look in on them. And it had, a bucket and a roll of toilet paper or something like that.
Yeah.
And he would put them in there until he was ready to use them again. Then when he got tired of using them, they would kill them. I mean, you went through the torture, drills to the vagina and all this shit. I mean, it's ridiculous. So fucking ridiculous. But yeah, so when he put these girls in this room, on the wall, he put a piece of paper on the wall, taped to the wall, their rules while they were there. So if you guys want to go over these rules.
So, number 1, I must always be ready to service my master. I must be clean, brushed, and made up with my cellmate. Number 2, I must never speak unless spoken to, unless in bed. I must never look my master in the eye, but must keep my eyes downcast. Number 3, I must never show my disrespect, either verbally or silent. I must never cross my arms or legs in front of my body, or clench my fist, and unless eating, must always keep my lips parted. I must be obedient completely and in all things. I must obey immediately and without question or comment. I must always be quiet when locked in my cell. I must remember and obey any additional rules that told to me. I must understand that any disobedience and any pain, terrible or annoyance caused by me trouble or annoyance caused by me to my master will be punished. Sorry, the print on this is very fuzzy and dark.
It's a photo of the actual printout that was on the wall, and it's not very good. I mean, it's 30 years old.
I think I did fairly well.
Yeah.
But those are horrible.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, they literally wanted a subservient
Sex slave.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then for what? To kill him.
Mm-hmm.
That was the absolute end game right there. It was straight up just to kill him. That was the end game.
It's crazy.
Yeah. One of the girls, Kathleen Allen, she was the girlfriend to, who was it? Charles Gunner, I believe it was. Yeah, I think it was Charles Gunner. She was the girlfriend to him. Maybe. No, I'm wrong. It was Randy Johnson. She was the girlfriend to Randy Johnson. And Randy came up missing, and then she gets a call saying that this guy's going to come pick her up and take her to Randy, that he's in bad shape. So she's at work. She gets this call. She tells her boss, I've got to go. there's trouble with Randy and I need to go help. So her boss is like, okay. So she leaves, and who is it that picks her up? Leonard Lake. Leonard Lake shows up in this stolen car and picks her up and takes her back to the cabin and then proceeds to shackle, handcuff, and torture this lady.
And what they did with some of their, I don't think they did it for all of them, but some of their victims, such as this particular lady, they mailed a typed letter.
Yeah, they made the girls type up
a letter to their boss, their friend, their family or whatever, saying that, oh, this is happening, I won't be back. And in this case, she was told her boss that she
was quitting her job.
She got a job elsewhere and
in Vegas.
And she wouldn't be coming back.
Yeah.
I would assume that if she had worked there for any amount of time, her boss would have been like, well, crap, and want to find out why and all this.
But the thing is, that's where he had some smarts about him.
No victim, no crime.
Yeah. So he had these girls, type up these letters and send them to family members, loved ones, bosses, people who would miss them, and say, I'm sorry, but this has come up and I've chosen to go here with my life. I'll talk to you when I can, and he did this to keep all that heat down.
Oh,
they don't get filed as a missing person. It's kind of hard to.
That's why I'm saying that. How can someone be so smart and stupid at the same time? He's obviously there's something there where he's like, well, I need to make sure I cover these tracks. I need to cover this. I need to cover this. But let me film all this.
Yeah.
Let me put myself on camera and tell the world because,
let me write it all in my journal.
Yeah. Let me lay it all out there so everybody actually will eventually find, which burying them is such a great idea. It could have worked if, there wasn't any.
Well, see, not
leakage.
all of them. Just like her, she wasn't buried.
Well, no,
she was
no.
burnt.
I was talking about the videotapes and the journals that were buried.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Bam?
Just from a father's point of view, if I ever get a top letter from one of my daughters saying, me and Julio's running down to Mexico and eloping, I'm hunting down every Julio in Gresham, right?
Well, that's because number one, nobody uses a top rodder.
Right.
Text message.
Yeah.
But regardless,
and that's how one reason they figured out that this was a serial killer, going on in the area, because they were receiving all these letters from these family members, and they got a forensic, analyst to look at the letters, and they came to the conclusion that it all came from the same typewriter, and so that's one of the big leads.
And then when they went into Leonard's cabin, there's the typewriter. This old school typewriter that,
and then determined that those letters came from that typewriter.
Yeah. So,
this whole case just infuriates me. Every serial killer that we discuss, it just gives you that icky feeling.
Right.
Something about these two. And that cricket.
Yeah, she got off scot-free.
Yeah.
I just want to punch her. Punch her.
And I'm telling you, there's interviews with her online, and she's smiling.
Because she knows. She knows she got away with murder.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder a little bit if maybe she didn't have something to do with masterminding the whole thing.
If she's the one that says, hey, Leonard, there's some really cute 14-year-old girls here at this school. You should probably, because at this point he was like what is it? An amateur, porno
Yeah.
director.
Yeah,
whatever.
he was in films, and
Yeah,
but
so-
even that cricket was in films with
So
him.
at that
Yeah.
point, he was already involved in this, and she's like, "Hey, I got you some."
Yeah.
So right there is like laying it in his lap.
Yep.
Now, I will say that, when that was happening, now granted, that in itself is horrible, but did she think that he was capable of actually turning into a serial killer? Maybe she was just doing it for
the porn stuff.
part. That's one, that's kind of
Right.
like, maybe that's why she was trying to pull out her part of that story. Maybe she didn't realize that he was going to be the serial killer. But regardless, you hand these girls over, you're part of it.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guilty by association.
Exactly. Horrible people. Go for it.
Sorry, just something my big brother from China, Mike Howard, said something about
It's
last
Japan. He's from Japan.
week. Japan.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He's Asian.
He's Asian.
My bad. Like, is there a supernatural force? I'm going to go with my religious convictions and say Satan protecting these people while they're
Oh, I
doing these
guarantee
things.
it.
We actually discussed that last week about how so many serial killers can
Go so
go
long.
so long that something is hiding them, and it's evil.
And the most famous one that makes you really think about that whole aspect of it is Amityville. You know?
yeah, we discussed that last week.
Yeah, because here you go. You have, you go on Google Maps and look up the house on Ocean Avenue, and look how close these houses are in this neighborhood. But yet he goes in there and he fires his high-powered rifle 5 times. Doesn't wake up anyone in the neighborhood.
Or the
no
house.
dogs barking, or in the house. How are you going to go into your parents' room and shoot your dad and your mom, and not wake up one of your siblings down the hall? But yet he didn't.
Or Betty next door.
Or Betty next door. Or hell, you fart too loud in this house and Blue starts barking.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Hell, Blue farts too loud in this house and he starts barking.
That's true. Well, and that's like with Danny Rowling. That's what he was literally in the backyard of everywhere he got his victims.
Yeah.
He was in the backyard. Some of them he did in the day. One of them he like 11 o'clock in the morning
Yeah.
in like an area of bungalows. Like something has to be covering
Yeah.
for these serial
Right.
killers.
But these guys, I don't know. I think they, honestly, on this one, they had a plan, from the start. Leonard Lake, before he ever started doing this, and the little snippet that I played a few minutes ago, you can go online, you can watch that entire video. He had everything planned before he ever did the first thing. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, and in his, his booklet, his journal, he said that he would not be captured, that he had cyanide and he would kill himself before he ever was captured.
Now, my question, because I believe I heard that he had it sewn into his pants.
No, his jacket.
Was it his okay?
Yeah, the lapel of his jacket.
Because I started to say, how many times you wearing the same same clothes over and over?
Yeah, no, he had 2 cyanide caplets sewn into the lapel of his jacket. And while he was there at the police station, he was going to confess to the theft because of the car and the driver's license.
And the gun.
Even though the person's missing.
Right, but he was going to...
Right.
That was to get them to go out of the fucking room.
Right.
He's like, go get me some paper and a pencil, and I will confess. The officer goes out of the room, gets pen and paper. When he comes back,
He is gnawing on his jacket.
He's unconscious.
he's unconscious. He had already gone out. And then he was in the hospital for 4 days before that old bastard finally bit the dust. You know?
One thing that kind of stands out for this particular case than the other ones that we've reviewed, they didn't have a thing. They didn't have a type.
No.
They didn't have like a calling card where they would kill and leave.
Because they brought them to their own house.
I know, but most, like, there was always like a method.
Yeah.
Like a particular method. They went all crazy.
Yeah.
Like they were just like, oh, well, I'm going to take this pencil and shove it in your eyeball.
Yeah,
this time.
let's try this.
And this time
Yeah.
we're going to do this. They're like, most of them have a thing or a type.
Okay. But to dive into that further, okay, they tried all these different things, right? Mm-hmm. To torture these girls and these guys and these babies. And how do we know that
That
during-
wasn't their thing?
No, that, they had gone, he was convicted of 11 murders, with possibilities up to 25 for the total. And who's to say that each time that they did something different, they were trying to find that thing.
I mean,
They were trying to find that, which is the way that we're going to do this that will leave a mark.
Their signature.
Yeah.
What's my favorite way to kill someone?
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
in Gen 6, you're right. Sounds like their thing was pain. That's what
yeah.
it was
Yeah,
torture.
And satisfying their own needs.
But it's
Because
interesting.
it all started as sex. It was just a sex thing, to be dominant over this female. She cannot speak to me. She cannot sit there with her mouth closed. When she's sitting in the room, she must leave her mouth open. The only time she can close her mouth is when she chews. She's not allowed to cross her arms. She's not allowed to sit with her legs together. It was all about dominance. It was, I am your master. Like he said in his rules. I must.
Puppets are gone.
Yeah, I must. The whole. I must do everything my master says. But so another thing about Charles Ng, though, let me get off on him for a minute because we've been talking about Leonard Lake. Charles Ng was just as fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's no video of him doing anything other than cutting the shirt off. Yeah, cutting the shirt off the lady and hearing him in the background talking. All the other videos that have something done, it's Leonard there. But so when Charles was in jail in Canada, he confided in one of his cellmates and told him about all the stuff they had done. Well, and he started drawing cartoons. He was drawing cartoons of these different acts that they did. One of the cartoons has him, Asian guy with a wok, standing at a stove, holding a baby upside down. And on that, the caption on it says, "No gun, no fun, no kill, no thrill. Daddy dies, mommy cries, baby fries."
Which would indicate that he ate the baby.
Would indicate that he ate the baby. Do we know that for sure? No, we don't. But why
No
would
body,
you do
no
that?
proof.
No body, no proof.
That's why they burned a lot of their victims and crushed the bone and then sprinkled it throughout the wooded area behind the cabin
and got chickens to come eat the bone.
Correct.
They brought in a bunch of chickens because the chickens will eat the bone. So, destroying all the evidence. But still
And they still got almost 45 pounds of
bone chips. I mean, we're talking, as small as the end of a pencil, little bone chips.
And let's think about that for a minute, because bones are going to dry out eventually. Mm-hmm. But we're talking about 45 pounds.
45 pounds. Yeah. Because I'm telling you, when bones dry out, they're light. There's no.
Kind of like driftwood.
Yeah.
I would have really not liked to have been the person having to.
It was several.
I would have hated to have been one of those people that was having to pick. It's a bone. That's a rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, they found several baby teeth and adult teeth. Obviously,
Yeah, because teeth don't burn, do they?
Mm-hmm. Nope.
Oh,
but
maybe, I wonder. Maybe that would give them an idea of how many
they
people.
also had pliers where they would pull their teeth. They'd twist off their freaking nipples with pliers.
Ow.
Damn. Pull their teeth. Yeah. They were sadistic.
I would pray for death. Being in a situation like that, I would pray for death.
Right.
Yeah, and they killed the man immediately because they were a physical threat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the kids, well, they're just in the way.
Just something to torture the mother.
Yeah.
Make them sit there and watch them.
Yeah.
God.
But so Ing, he tells this cellmate about all the things that he had done and all this. Well, when he finally gets here and they finally get a trial.
Because they extradited him.
No, he had to finish his sentence up there because they got him on theft and assault and weapons charge. And so he had to serve 4.5 years in Canada before the Canadian officials would release him to come here to be tried for all the murder charges.
Jeez.
Yeah, so, but the cellmate they had that he confided all this shit that he had done in, well, he goes and he's going to testify against Charles Ing. But what happens? Does he testify? No. Why does he not testify?
He dies.
Because he was killed in a car accident 2 weeks before the trial started. 2 weeks before the trial started, he was killed in a car accident.
Neither one of them had to actually pay for what they did.
Oh, well, Ing is in prison now.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he's on
He's
death
still
row.
Oh, you're
death
talking about
row.
that. Okay, you're talking about the...
I'm talking about the guy that was going to testify
Yeah.
against him and tell everything that he had told. He was killed in a car accident 2 weeks before the trial started. No, Charles Ing was convicted.
Yeah, he's still in prison.
And he's in San Quentin on death row he'll never die, at the hands of lethal injection or the electric chair or anything. He will die of old age inside there because there has not been anyone killed in California on death row since 2006. And you have how many hundreds of people on death row in the state of California?
That's another issue with our justice system and our correctional facilities is, if you get freaking sentenced to death, fucking kill them.
Yeah.
Die.
Yeah.
Don't be wasting taxpayers' money, keeping them alive, giving them better benefits than most of the working folks in this country.
Yeah. Yeah. Trevor, you can...
There are currently 747 inmates on death row in California alone. 747.
And who was the last person that was put to death in California? I'm pretty sure it was 2006.
Yes, it was.
It's fucked up, though.
The last person executed in California was Clarence Ray Allen. Died January 17th of 2006 at the age of 76.
That name sounds familiar.
Let me see here real quick.
Well, anyway, that's when it was.
For the murders of 3 people.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah. And Charles Ng is sitting there watching, probably Asian foot porn on.
He was convicted in 1978 of burglary and murder, and then 1980 of 3 counts of murder.
And sat on death row for 26 years.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, wow. Okay. So he was already serving a life sentence for one of the murders when he was convicted of organizing the killing of 3 more people from prison.
Wow.
Nice.
I mean...
He had connections. That's a
Handsome fella.
Right? You guys. You guys.
Yeah, he's a handsome lady. All right. So how about this? I'm through talking about these guys. They were assholes. They were sadistic.
Sick motherfuckers.
Sick sumbitches. And hopefully that, Charles Ng, if there's a way that you can hear this podcast while you're sitting there in your little suite
I
at
hope
San Quentin.
you rot in jail.
And HE double hockey sticks.
Yes.
I hope someone with a 14-inch dick, 6 inches wide, busts your asshole 14 times a day. Just saying. Yeah. All right, on that note, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, you guys get ready, because it's story time. We'll be right back.
So many people spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars on that perfect infrared camera, hoping to catch that epic paranormal shot or simply to document their nighttime escapades, only to pair it up with an IR illuminator that gives off a hotspot in the center of the frame and performs subpar for their camera's capabilities. We did the same thing. Let me save you some time and money spent on multiple IR lights with one name, Deadlight. Created from the minds of Josh Bender and Justin Brown, who are also paranormal investigators, the Deadlight is the elite light to add to your camera arsenal. We have tested the Deadlight and illuminated areas up to 300 feet away. Did I mention these lights are built like a tank? Super durable and sturdy construction. Josh builds each Deadlight to meet your needs and is in constant contact during the building process. So forget the other lights out there and go straight to the best. You can check out the complete line of Deadlights on Facebook at Deadlight LLC. Justin and Josh are constantly exploring new features to add to the Deadlights. ETGS will never use another light in the field simply because nothing else compares. Get your Deadlight today and you too can light up the night.
You're listening to Parrot Talk with East Tennessee Ghost Seekers, a new perspective in paranormal talk radio.
You're listening to Parrot Talk. If you have a question or an experience to share, email us at etgsparatalk@gmail.com or call 865-264-0448. And now, back to Parrot Talk.
All right, guys, we're back, and I'm just going ahead and warn you, you're probably going to hear the dog bark here in a second because Trevor went outside to grab a smoke, and when he comes in, Blue's going to have a shit fit.
He's going to have story time.
Yeah, so we're going to wait on story time until he gets in here and gets settled. That way, you guys can enjoy story time without a barking Lucifer in the background.
Yes.
But I was just going to throw this out there. Yesterday, while I was sitting here feeling like I'd been hit by a truck and then backed over and then hit again and then backed over and then hit again, I was scrolling through Netflix trying to find something to watch. And there's a new movie on Netflix about Eileen Wuornos.
Oh, I think I saw the preview.
Yeah,
for
it's
that.
like Eileen Wuornos, America's Boogie Woman or something like that. But, and there's Lucifer. But it has the little girl that plays Tori in Cobra Kai. She plays a young Eileen Wuornos.
Really?
Yeah. And Bam Bam got attacked by Lucifer. But yeah, she plays a young Eileen Wuornos, and it's loosely based on Eileen before she started her killing spree, and when she was married to the commander, it was this guy that used to charter boats and take rich people out on sea and all this. And so it's the story of that relationship, and it's fucked up all on its own. Yeah, if, even if it's loosely based on it, we don't know which part's loose. Is it, they left out some of the details to clean it up a little bit, or if she was just as sadistic as we all know she is.
Right.
But yeah, so if you've got an hour and a half to spare, check out the Eileen Wuornos Something American Boogie Woman. So it's a pretty good watch. Yeah, we all like Tori on Cobra Kai, even though she's a bitch on there.
I know.
She's a good actress.
Yeah.
She is.
All right. I know you guys have been waiting for this and waiting for this and waiting for this some more.
Yes.
And I know Bam Bam here, he had messaged me a few weeks ago, and he's like, when are we going to have story time again? And, Hockey Man, he's always story time. Yeah, Peyton List, that's the girl's name. And Hockey's giving you his demands for the
just know that there are a few parts into the story, so not every part can be a sexy part.
No, not this story.
There might be a part 2 where she has to get a little butch.
Maybe.
But yeah, we do these every so often. If you're new to the podcast, we do story time every so often. And
I do my best. I read so much to find a good story.
Yeah. This week, like, I've gone to bed and Andrea's still up freaking trolling through stories.
Yes.
That
I've gone to bed late almost every single night.
Is that all one story?
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's okay. The print's not that bad.
Oh, okay.
But so without any further ado, everybody sit back, grab your beverage of choice. Wow. Aunt Andrea takes us into story time.
This story is the reflection of a monster. Do you have a history of violence? No, I replied, annoyed. I'm a pacifist. She is writing something down, the woman across the desk. I forgot what she said her name was. Lindsay, maybe? Do you ever consider harming yourself or others? Of course not. Seriously, who does she think I am? Some type of lunatic? Don't tell her. These words came from a different voice, one that I had learned to hate. It was the woman standing behind me. Her name was Echo. Don't tell her. She is growing impatient with me, telling me to keep quiet. Don't tell her. Mr. Dawson, did you hear me? You seem distracted. This from the woman in front of me this time. The one dressed so professionally. Lisa? Yeah, that's it, Lisa. I'm sorry, what? She was looking at me with an expression of concern. She thinks I'm crazy. I know she must. I asked you a question. Do you ever hear voices? She asked. No, of course not. That's crazy. I'm not crazy. Don't tell her. Shh. Oh, God. Did I say that out loud? Then who are you telling to hush? She questioned. Oh, God, I had spoken out loud. No one. Next question. They think I'm crazy. Mr. Dawson, I can't help you if you do not be completely honest with me. Do you understand? To be honest, I liked this Lisa woman. She was kind and elegant and, most of all, stunningly beautiful. I wanted to trust her. I wanted to spill out all of my darkest secrets, all of my greatest fears. I wanted to tell her about the echo that follows me and the woman that frightens me. But what would become of me if I did? I'd end up like all the others. She would simply rid me from existence. Mr. Dawson, yeah, I understand. Because I did, but I was afraid. I had seen my future. I had stood by and watched the life drain from so many eyes just as frightened as mine. Don't tell her. I wish she would be quiet. I can't focus on two voices at once. I need to calm down. I can feel my expression twisting into that of one witnessing their own worst fear, and I couldn't let Lisa see how terrified I truly was. Do you ever see things that are not there? She looked genuinely concerned as she said this, as if she was speaking to a troubled child. No, I spoke uneasily. Why did you hesitate to answer that? She said suspiciously. Don't tell her. I did not. Don't tell her. Echo began to laugh uncontrollably. She knew she was driving me insane. I wanted to jump to my feet and run from the room just to escape that blood-curdling noise. But I knew it would do no good. She would just follow me. She is always with me. What are you afraid of, Mr. Dawson? Do you hear me? She was staring at me, strange now, almost as frightened as I was. I can't say. I'm sorry. Yes, you can. You are safe here. No one can hurt you, but you have to help me. Help you, okay? I took a deep breath. I might as well lay it all on the table. Don't tell her. Don't tell her. I'll kill you. Don't tell her. Shut up! I shouted as Lisa cowered in her seat. No, not you. She seemed confused. Then who? No one, I spoke carefully. But I need to tell you something. There is a woman. Well, she can be hardly called that. She's a monster. My God, she'll kill me for telling you this. We won't let anyone hurt you, but you must tell me more. Shut up, Michael. You'll die for this if you speak so much as another syllable of this. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. What does she look like? Does she have a name? Her name is Echo, and she's beautiful. The most beautiful creature I've ever seen. I guess death is beautiful, but she's a monster. Why do you think that she is evil? She asked, now intrigued. Because she is. I've seen her do horrible things. I said as a single tear rolled down my cheek, staining my face with my warm, sticky water. I knew I was dead. I might as well have dug my own grave, but I couldn't hold it any longer. Just a second, and with that, Lisa left the room. Echo took her seat across the table from me and looked at me with eyes full of anger and hate. I had never been more frightened in my life. Michael, I don't want to hurt you, but if you don't stop this now, you'll leave me no choice. The doorknob and Lisa stepped back inside, only this time she was holding a tape recorder. Okay, mister, she started, but I had to interrupt. You can call me Michael. I'm trusting you with my life at this point. I think we can drop the formality. I said a bit more in an agitated tone than I had meant to. Hopefully she didn't notice. Okay, fair enough, Michael. Tell me everything you know. I met her a year ago when I was 16. She came to me one day when I was walking home from work. You know, now that I really think about it, I don't know much about her. I don't know where she came from, what she wanted. It's almost as if she was created out of thin air. Michael, I'm warning you. She told me she loved me after a while and convinced me she could show me true happiness. Before long, she came to stay with me. We were always together. I thought she was the most wonderful person I had ever met. She had made me feel special, like someone loved me, and I had never felt that type of emotion before so naturally. I didn't want to give something like that up, and I was never given a reason to at first. One very odd thing I noticed, though, was that at any time anyone other than me was around, she would hide, like she didn't want anyone to know of her existence. I still trusted her, though. Like I said, she meant the world to me. But then she started to say things that scared me. Anytime someone would upset me or her, she would talk about harming them. And I don't mean like a routine beatdown or anything. She wanted to kill these people. She would talk about this all the time. And well, as I've mentioned before, I'm a pacifist, so of course I objected. I would tell her it was wrong, and she would always reply with the same emotionless voice saying, "Not if it's justified, not if it's punishment." Shut up, shut up, shut up. I told her no, but she tried to convince me she was only doing it because she loved me. And to be honest, I never really took the situation very seriously. I just kind of thought it was empty threats that she wouldn't really do. My God, I was so wrong, so very wrong. I paused for a moment, sickened by the story I was about to portray. Like I said, I didn't think much of it, so that's why I kind of just dismissed it. Until one day, about 3 months ago, I don't really know much of the details, but I woke up covered in blood. That didn't belong to me. I was freaking the hell out. I had no idea what had happened. So I asked her, and when she began to speak, I knew she had lost her mind. She had this deliciously evil grin on her face, one that under any circumstances would have been beautiful, but at this point in time, it only sent a chill down my spine all the way to my bone. I could have spent the rest of this life without ever seeing it again, and I would be just fine. She went on to explain how she had gotten rid of the boy who had always bullied me at school. I wish I hadn't, but I asked her how. She then explained how "we" is the term she used, but I swear I'd never heard anyone. How we had caught him on his way home from school and bashed him over the head with a brick. She went into so much detail, like how the bone crunched beneath the force of the blow and the sticky red blood that splattered to the ground like dripping wet paint. She said she had liked it, the way it felt to feel his skull collapse in on itself at her hand, to feel the blood splash up on her face and watch the life drain from his eyes. What really stands my hair on edge is that I have no recollection of being there for any of this, but as she was telling me all of this, I could literally almost hear his pained screams, feel the rush of adrenaline one would have while performing such a sick act of murder. By this point in my explanation, I realized Echo had stopped protesting or trying to silence me. She was sitting in a corner listening intently to a series of events that she herself had lived. Was that the only happening you know of, Michael? Do you know where the body is? I do recall a missing persons report filed a few months ago on a boy about your age. She spoke with such a sense of urgency as if for some reason she thought he could be saved. He couldn't. That much I do know. No, I don't know where he is, I said apologetically. Okay, well, anything else? Yeah, well, everything was normal for a while after that. Then one day I got into a small confrontation with a guy from work. And after that, he stopped showing up to work. I think in the back of my mind, I knew that she had something to do with it, but my thoughts were not confirmed until she offered me the information herself. Worst part is that she seemed to be proud of what she had done. Just as before, the same evil grin spread across her face, which wore an expression of pure delight. She had the appearance of a madman. I am no madman. I'm a lady. I winced and turned to see Echo, still listening but clearly upset by this description of herself. She said to me, Michael, I've done something for you. Please don't be upset with me. But do you remember the man from work? The one who upset you? Well, he was being bad, and you know bad people deserve to be punished. So I did what any sane person would do, and I punished him. He broke the rules. The penalty? His miserable life. I feel like I punished him quite creatively as well, Did you know that if you make a sharp end on a candy cane, almost like a dagger, it can be used for whatever its purpose may be, and then eaten? No evidence. Isn't that wonderful? I could only imagine what she had done to him, but I know it wasn't good or healthy for that matter. The sickest part is that I really believe that she thought what she was doing was justifiable on the basis that he had upset me. Do you have any idea how horrifying it is knowing that people have died in your name? I lie awake at night and torture myself with the thoughts of those people and their families, and I know that it's all my fault. My words began to falter. My heart started to beat faster, and that all too familiar feeling of self-hatred came back flooding like the walls of a dam had broken loose. But what if you were saying is true? Then you had nothing to do with any of it, she said clearly, trying to reassure me. Yes, but if it had not been for me, they would still be alive. Besides, you haven't even heard the worst part yet. She has done so many terrible things. The most recent is the worst. That one, I actually witnessed that. I don't even know what she did to make her think she deserved it. I had never met this woman. But she made me go with her. We took her from her home and took her to an old abandoned warehouse on the other side of town. She tied her to a beam and, oh my God, why didn't I stop her? Michael, I know this is hard, but I need you to pull yourself together and tell me everything you know, okay? Okay. It was like I was frozen. I couldn't move. All I could do was say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I am so, so sorry. That woman's eyes never left me. She kept screaming help, but I didn't. I just stood there. She tortured her. She began by cutting off the edges of all her fingers and burning them closed so she wouldn't bleed to death before she was done with her. She repeated this process until all that was left was bloody stumps that could hardly be called hands. All the while, she kept that grin on her face like she was having the best time of her life. I heard laughter from behind me. Apparently, Echo found amusement in my horrific portrayal of herself. She even took the time to use a razor to make what was similar to paper cuts all over her body. Then she poured bleach over her. I still hear the screams as clear as when it was happening. Still, all I could do was watch. How she didn't die from shock and then pain, I don't know. She tortured her mercilessly for nearly 5 days, and none of the time she was fed or given water. She even used more well-known techniques such as waterboarding. She drove nails through her body and beat her with any object within her reach. Finally, at the end of the 5th day, her body gave out. She finally died. The worst part is, I remember feeling relieved when she died. She had suffered enough and she was finally free. I was done speaking. It felt like my stomach was doing backflips. Is that all? She asked. She seemed just as unnerved as me at this point. I shook my head yes, and she said, I'll be back in a moment. And with that, she left the room. Echo took her seat across the table in front of me. She no longer looked angry, just exhausted. Are you happy now? Now they know. They know everything because you couldn't keep your mouth shut. I'm sorry. You're sorry? Don't apologize to me. I won't be the one who pays for this. Guess where the bodies are? Your attic. Guess what that is over there? A damn two-way mirror. This was a psychological test, and considering you're talking to people who aren't there, you failed. Did you forget you were in a police station? Wait, what do you mean, talking to people who aren't there? She never gave me the answer to that question. She didn't speak another word. Lisa had said she would be right back, but it was hours before she returned. Michael, the police found the bodies of those people. They were in your house. Echo isn't even a real person. You suffer from a split personality disorder. Echo is simply a reflection of yourself. You know murder is wrong, and the guilt is too much for you to accept what you do, so you created this fabricated woman to do the killing for you. She almost sounded sorry to say this, I felt my heart drop to the floor. There was no way this was right. No, I'm not crazy. That's crazy. You are very sick, but we can get you help. So you're saying I killed all those people? Yes, that was it. She was right. It was too much. I picked up the ink pen lying on the table. I've done wrong. I broke the rules. The penalty? My miserable life. I stabbed the pen into my wrist and drug it up my arm, exposing everything beneath the surface. I could feel the blood run down my wrist, and I fell to my knees. All the memories of the people I killed came rushing back, hitting me like a tidal wave of sin. The last thing I see was Echo. She was so beautiful. She was leaning over me with that all too familiar smile on her face. The last thing I heard her voice say, I told you I'd kill you for this.
All right.
Damn.
Echo. It's some bitch right there. Good call.
And this story was written by Kelsey Taylor.
Wow.
Just to give credit.
Kelsey, you did an amazing job.
Okay, Hockey Man, let's not go that far. It's a story.
That was awesome. I really liked that one.
Yeah, that was good.
Bam. What did you think about that one?
That was awesome.
So, I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's been a minute since we got to do a story time.
Gen 6. Kelsey, have you been checked out lately?
But that was a really good story. And so, what was the author's name again?
Kelsey Taylor.
Kelsey Taylor. Good
Hockey
job.
wants to know where you find these at.
All over the interwebs. I really do.
No, seriously.
I
dude.
literally
She
look
sits and she looks for stories for hours and hours. And
like when it was brought up last Friday, I think it was.
Yeah,
I think it was last Friday when it was brought up. That night after podcast, I started looking.
Yeah.
It took me until Wednesday
to find the right
to
one.
find the right one.
Yeah,
Because, they got to have a feel.
yeah, and
I felt that one.
like a pin into the wrist, exposing everything.
Cutting the tips off their fingers and then burning them so they wouldn't bleed.
That is intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's creative.
I mean,
very intense.
I have read.
Gen 6 says, if her eyes turn black, throw away the computer.
There's a bunch that I've already read. I just like this one was, since we were on that whole serial killer thing, I kind of wanted to feed into that. So some of the other ones I've read, I might break out again. I'm telling you, I don't think anything
We'll beat the Black Farm.
will beat the Black Farm.
Yeah.
And the Christmas Land.
Yeah, Christmas Land was good.
That one was really good. If you guys haven't heard those, I'm sure they're listed somewhere in our...
Yeah, they are. And another good one is from Christmas last year, Mike doing A Christmas Carol.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, last year Mike did A Christmas Carol and did all the voices for all the characters.
He's much better at the altering voices.
Well, it's what he does.
I know, that is kind of his thing.
But, all of these stories are awesome. But if you have not heard, what is it called? Welcome to the Black Farm? Or,
No, it's... I'll have to find it again.
Yeah, it was written by Elias Withrow. I remember that.
Yeah.
And this dude...
He's my favorite.
Yeah, he did the Christmas.
He did both of them.
Yeah. No, what was it called? Christmas Land?
The one where the guy drops in the net, was that Christmas Land?
Yes.
Yeah. Hockey was wondering.
Yeah.
Feed the pig.
Oh, I had you turned on. Go ahead.
Feed the pig.
Yes. Yeah. Love that story. Love that story.
Was it, most people think you go to either heaven or hell? What I
Yes.
experienced was much worse.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the Black Farm.
Yeah.
And I think I saw on YouTube where somebody did like a short movie
Oh, God.
on that.
After reading that, I don't think
Yeah.
I can watch a movie of it.
But yeah, if you like stories like that, check out Elias Lithrow. He's freaking amazing. And did Kelsey have any other stories, or is this the only one?
I wasn't really paying attention to
Authors.
I was just looking for stories, but
That's a
I always
good
want to
one.
give the authors credit.
Oh God,
so
yeah.
if you guys want me to continue to do story time, let me know. I'll continue to find stories.
Yeah, of course.
Please
we will.
do.
Yeah. Yeah, we enjoy it if everybody else doesn't. Who gives a shit? It's my podcast. I do what I want. And if you don't like it, you can turn it off.
Please don't.
But please don't. We hope you enjoy it. But
Yeah,
Hockey manager, are you nuts?
why would you stop?
I don't know. I love reading. I love it. I've done more reading this week than I have in forever.
Yeah.
But like when I get started, it just keeps going. So I keep getting into the different story, this story, that story, that story. But I'll look for another one. If you guys want, I'll give another one next week.
Christmas Land.
Christmas Land.
Yeah, that was the other one by Elias Lithrow.
I missed that one.
Yeah, you missed that one? It's good. It's a good one. Yeah.
Very good.
Not as good as the Black Farm, but it's still amazing. But so I'm thinking next week, since we've already done 2 weeks of serial killers, let's go ahead and do another one.
What? Do you guys like the serial killer discussions, information?
It
type
don't matter what you like.
No, I would like to make sure that they enjoy listening to that.
People love true crime.
I mean,
People
most
love true
do.
crimes, and it's See, Hockey Man said it's his podcast.
Don't encourage them. Please don't.
But yeah, people love true crime. People love hearing about these
Crazy psychos.
the monsters that are actually out there in the world.
The monsters among us.
Yes.
It just don't matter what you like. Thanks, Hockey.
The truth, you can't handle the truth.
But we'll get back to some paranormal stories, and
One thing I want to mention.
yeah, we've got some time.
So, I actually sent this to Stephen.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Thanks.
See, this is how we live in the same house. We're married, and this is what I get. So I know a while back we had talked about the potential demise of the Queen Mary.
Yes. Yes.
She's getting a makeover.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So she's getting a new lease on life starting next month. So they're
Awesome. Go ahead and read the story.
So it says that a $5 million repair project will begin next month to reopen the Queen Mary to the public, the latest step to keep the beleaguered Long Beach tourist attraction afloat. The former ocean liner turned floating hotel closed in May of 2020 because of the pandemic, of course. Several studies have been conducted to gauge the work needed to keep the vessel open to tourists and prevent parts of the ship from flooding. The 88-year-old ship is in such disrepair that the city of Long Beach had considered the option of sinking it after taking control of the vessel from the lease operator last year. Long Beach officials said Thursday the $5 million in crucial repairs should be completed by the end of 2022. They said addressing these critical repairs has been a long time coming. The company that held the lease to operate the ship, Eagle Hospitality Trust, filed for bankruptcy to protection in January of 2021 and agreed to surrender its lease agreement in June. Long Beach, which owns the ship and the property around it, said Eagle Hospitality defaulted on several provisions of the lease, including failure to maintain the aging ship. Over the last 50 years, Long Beach has recruited several companies, including Walt Disney Company, to manage the ship and develop the adjacent oceanfront property with mixed results. Before the pandemic, the ship generated $3.3 million in tax revenues annually from its operation as a hotel, a venue for concerts, festivals, and as a film location. And I'm sure paranormal investigations. Previous studies since 2017 estimated the ship needed as much as $289 million in renovations and upgrades to keep parts of it from flooding.
Let me go ahead and write them a check.
Sure. According to inspection reports released last year by city-hired marine engineering firm Elliott Bay Design Group, the Queen Mary needs $23 million in immediate repairs to prevent it from potentially capsizing. The $5 million in work will represent the first phase of the most crucial repairs, according to the city of Long Beach. The upgrades will include the removal of deteriorating lifeboats that exert stress and create severe cracks in the ship's support system. The city said in a news release, 13 original lifeboats will be removed from the ship and temporarily stored while the city determines whether there is any interest from museums and other nonprofit groups to preserve them. The city also plans to install permanent bilge pumps to remove water intrusion from the event of an emergency and make improvements to the bulkhead, emergency generator, and the water intrusion warning system. And other electrical work, including lighting for one of the ship's massive exhaust fume funnels, has already been completed. Half of the funding for the initial repairs will come from the city's Tidelands Fund, which are generated by permit fees, parking revenue, and rents from various waterfront concessions and leases along the shore. The funds are set aside for maintenance, operation, and repairs of the marinas, beaches, and waterways, the convention center, the Queen Mary, and other facilities along the shoreline. And the other half of the funding is expected to be approved by the city council in the next few months.
Nice.
So, yay, Queen Mary's
nice
coming back.
And yeah, you had mentioned the, you were sure paranormal events as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they host lots of paranormal events. And if you want to hear of one story, you can go back, and it was from one of our episodes back in 2020. During the pandemic.
Probably when we heard they were going to close down.
No.
Oh.
No, it was when we had Brandon Alvis from Ghost Hunters on the show. And he was talking about some evidence that he captured at the Queen Mary in his original group. And he actually sent me the video. You remember watching it? You remember watching it, Steve?
Yes.
It was terrifying. He had gone into one of the restrooms, and on his camera, behind one of the stall doors, was a lady crouched down behind the door. Plain as day. Plain as freaking day.
After seeing that movie last night,
that
terrifies me.
Oh, yes.
Corey Taylor movie?
Yes. So,
it's a movie called Bad Candy.
Yes, it's on Amazon Prime. It probably cost them like $14 to make.
Oh, yeah.
And Corey Taylor plays a DJ.
Yeah.
And hosts a Halloween show on Halloween. And it has him and Zach Galifianakis or something.
No.
It's the guy that
Galifianakis?
No, it's the guy that was Gizmo's owner in Gremlins.
Hold on.
But so Gizmo's daddy is the producer of the
Zach
show. Galligan, yeah. He's the producer of the radio show. And Corey is the DJ, and he's telling these stories. Well, the stories he's telling
are like really happening.
They're acting out, and it's actually going on as he's telling the stories.
It's almost like he's feeding the story.
Yeah. But
and it's the acting like Corey's
acting is awesome.
and Zach's
Zach's
is
is
good.
awesome.
It's the other ones where you're just kind of like, that's taking me back to some BC rape movies.
Yeah, it's
Little slashers.
yeah. Well, no, even slashers have better actors than that. It was like Sleepaway Camp, like the bad actors in Sleepaway Camp. That's how the actors are in this movie.
Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you just said that.
They paid them an RC Cola and a moon pie to act.
He is going to kill you.
Yes.
Run,
yes, on
bitch.
Prime.
Run. No, it does have a good twist at the end. I will say that it had a good twist. Steven did fall asleep, and I had to fill him in at the end of it.
Yeah. Well,
I was like, dude.
I had been up for almost 24 hours.
Well, that's true.
You said that's on Prime?
Yes, it's on Prime.
But it's called Bad Candy.
Bad Candy.
Bad Candy.
Bad Candy. Stars
And
Matt Damon. Not really.
No. Matt Damon.
But
yeah, so that's one of those.
But yeah, if you're a Corey Taylor fan, you gotta watch it just because it's freaking Corey Taylor. Corey motherfucking Taylor.
CMFT.
That's right. Can't be stopped.
Can't be.
Can't be stopped. But you should check out that song too. But all right, we're closing in on the end of the show, guys. We'll thank Bam Bam for joining us this week and filling in the chair. Yes, thank you for coming and hanging out.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, brother, anytime. He's been here once before, but he sat in a chair in the corner of the room and did not speak the entire time. He was like...
just like, yep.
Well, you had a full show.
We did. We had a full show that night, and yeah, but he sat back there and was quiet. Probably the most quiet he's ever been in his entire life.
I know.
At least for 2 hours. And he's kind of like that tonight. He's just like nodding and smiling. You're not on camera, fucker.
He's always smiling.
Yes, Hockey says, feel better, Amy. Yes.
And we love you.
And Hockey said, great job, Bam.
Bam.
So,
Thank you, brother.
Bam, Bam. But, until we come back next week and we're going to talk about some more serial killers.
Yeah, if all goes planned, we'll be back Friday.
Yes, we'll be back
All
Friday.
of us.
Yes, well,
Maybe not Mike. He won't
probably
be back
not
by
Mike.
then.
We probably won't have Mike until after February.
True. Oh yeah, work.
Yeah, but and
We'll
Steve's
be
through
here.
with Saturdays.
Yeah, I'm through with my 6 days a week.
Yes. So Steve will be back. Amy will be back. Andrea will be back. I have to be here because no one else can run the Roadcaster but me.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you guys listening in.
Yes, it's been
And
fun. Thanks.
If you guys have any ideas for topics, or if there's something in the paranormal world that you have questions about and you want some answers, or you want us to dive into these things and give you all the information that we can give you, even if it doesn't make any fucking sense, we will do that just for you.
And if you haven't seen Ghostbusters Afterlife, you need to.
Gotta watch it. Gotta watch it.
Oh my gosh, it's
Steve
so
watched
good.
it last night, and it was mine and Andrea's second time seeing
And
it.
I swear it was over and I was like, I could watch that again. It is one of
It's
those.
good.
It's a good
Real
movie.
good.
Very good movie. And so is Resident Evil.
That one was good too.
Yeah.
I wanted to stay up and watch it last night, but
I know.
I'd been up since 1:30.
That was a valiant effort though. You stayed up pretty late
Yeah.
last night.
But, all right. Until next week.
Hey,
Hey,
everybody, share with your friends.
yes, share the podcast with your friends. Tell everybody about us. And if you need some Paratalk merchandise or some Easton Seacoast Seekers merchandise or just something creepy to wear, be sure and check out our Teespring store. There will be a link to it in the podcast notes.
Speaking of which, I went on the site yesterday. I was going to buy a sweatshirt, and they didn't have any larges
What?
or extra larges. They had,
You know what?
They had freaking medium and 17X.
You know why? Because they're sitting on the middle of a boat out in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Thanks, Customs.
yeah. Well, no. Thanks to everybody who doesn't want to fucking work.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
There's nobody to unload the boats, no truck drivers to drive the shit where it needs to go. It's going to sit in the fucking ocean. People, get off your lazy asses and get a fucking job.
We want our stuff, man.
God, don't get me started. All right, guys. Until next week, I'm Steven.
I'm Steve.
I'm Andrea.
I'm Bam Bam.
We appreciate you guys. And as always, stay spooky, my friends.
And that's all, folks.
You've been listening to Paratalk with the East Tennessee Ghost Seekers. If you have a question or comment about the show you've just heard, or you have an experience to share, or you need to contact us concerning an investigation, feel free to email us at etgsparatalk@gmail.com or call 865-264-0448. That's 865-264-0448. We invite you to find and like the East Tennessee Ghost Seekers on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and visit us online at easttnghostseekers.org. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time on Paratalk.